What was it like to be an Old West Buffalo soldier? Did you know that the Buffalo Soldiers got their name from the same Native Americans they fought with? Well, it has to be how they looked, or was actually an act of respect, as buffaloes were a symbol of reverence to them. You'll discover more about what made them legends after watching this video. But first, here's where it all had begun. So when the Civil War had just ended, countless African Americans had high hopes for a fresh start with their newfound freedom. Meanwhile, the US government for the very first time had allowed these newly freed men to get enlisted in the military. With no other better career options, these people thought of a way to better their lives with prestige as actual soldiers in the army. With that, 6 all-black regiments were formed to help rebuild the country. And more significantly, to help with westward expansion. They headed west of the Mississippi to safeguard both the supply and mail routes. Then from whom do they have to protect these routes? Well, most often they fought against outlaws, Mexican rebels, and ultimately the Native Americans. That which were the complicated history of the Buffalo Soldiers had started. Since these former slaves from the South had ironically to fight with the natives, who somewhat had a similar situation to them in some aspects. And many of these soldiers had just escaped the cruelty of plantation life, being deprived of their freedom. That's technically theirs, just like the natives deprived of their lands. Before continuing, we would really appreciate a like to this video. If you also want to see similar content in the future, consider subscribing and activating the notification bell. Despite their unease and being the subject of ridicules, had served with full conviction to their duty, and continued fighting for all the rest of the wars that the US had participated in. It was believed that they got associated with the Plain Indians, as they observed their dark complexion and curly hair, matched by their ferocious demeanor, deserving the title based on the daunting beast of the western frontier, the buffalo. Well, aside from being war-oriented soldiers, national parks were reinvented with their sheer efforts. Thus, the National Park Service was created. With that, they become also known as park rangers, fixing the trails inside the Sequoia National Park. Also, there was this truly remarkable individual, Captain Charles Young, who became the highest African American military official after graduating from West Point Military Academy. Although they were often confronted with racial prejudice from other regiments, and even civilians that sometimes had resulted in violence. Still, these soldiers had kept their composure and proper manner, earning them several medals of honor. It was quite evident that many claimed how exceptional these Buffalo Soldiers were, and in a letter written by an officer's wife, quoted that they were dynamic, smart, and resolute men, perfectly willing to fight whenever they got called upon to do so. Also, there was this lieutenant as well, who swore that there was no other troop in the US Army, besides from the Buffalo Soldiers, that was trustworthy of his life. Then, someone who experienced being saved by them firsthand even remarked that he never once witnessed in his entire life an act of better courage showed aside these exceptional legendary soldiers. Ultimately, in the era where oppression and lawlessness were apparent, some heroes were born amidst the crisis of war. Well, maybe that's how it was like to be a Wild West Buffalo Soldier. You have just discovered the extraordinary life of Buffalo Soldiers back then. Now click this and discover the top 5 extraordinary Old West sheriffs.